Welcome back to Creature Files. While this channel does its best to cover the more obscure prehistoric life on Earth, it would be unfair to ignore the most well-known and iconic creatures of the Mesozoic, the king of the Cretaceous, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Tyrannosaurus lived during the upper Late Cretaceous Period, between 68 and 66 million years ago, in North America. Tyrannosaurus Rex means Tyrant Lizard King, and while we now know that theropod dinosaurs are more closely related to birds than lizards, it is still a fitting name for one of the most fearsome predators ever to walk the earth. The largest complete T-Rex specimen measured in at 12.3 meters in length, stood 3.7 meters at the hip, and weighed in at an estimated 8.4 to 14 metric tons. Other more fragmentary remains suggest a possible length of over 13 meters. The T-Rex had the greatest bite force of any terrestrial creature ever to live, able to apply between 35 and 57,000 newtons of force with its jaws. This incredibly powerful bite allowed Tyrannosaurus to crush bone effortlessly and hunt even the most formidable prey. The skull of T-Rex was massive, with the largest discovered measuring 1.52 meters in length. It had a different structure to most large theropods, being extremely wide at the rear with a narrow snout, which would allow T-Rex to have superb binocular vision. Standing still would not help you escape this monster's gaze. The forward-facing eyes of Tyrannosaurus would have served it well, allowing it to see in 3D and giving T-Rex excellent depth perception. One of the other most notable features of Tyrannosaurus is of course the almost comically small forelimbs. However, they are in fact quite sizable arms, similar in size to those of a grown man. Most of the more derived members of the Tyrannosauroid family have comparatively short arms to body size, which allows them to support a massive head and maintain balance on two legs. It has been theorized that T-Rex's limbs are vestigial, useless body parts left over through evolution and no longer served a purpose. However, T-Rex's forelimbs were surprisingly muscular for their size. Other large theropods, with limbs that have since become vestigial, have far less muscle tissue. It is then likely that T-Rex still maintain the use of their forelimbs, either for aiding in standing up from a laying position, or perhaps holding onto their partner during mating. Over 50 different T-Rex specimens have been discovered, and as such, it is one of the most well understood dinosaurs. But there are still many questions that remain to be answered. One of the most common questions is whether T-Rex had feathers of any kind. The basal Tyrannosauroid Dilong, dating to the early Cretaceous, has been confirmed to have primitive feather filaments, presumed for insulation. It was long thought that as theropods increased in size, they lost their feathers as they didn't require the insulation, but the recent discovery of Eutyrannus brings that theory into question. Eutyrannus was a large tyrannosaur with clear fossil evidence of substantial feathering. However, skin impressions from T-Rex have been discovered that lack evidence of feathers. Studies suggest that if Tyrannosaurus was feathered, the feathering would be restricted to the upper side of the animal. Pop culture references suggest that Tyrannosaurus could run at 40 km per hour. However, this is simply unreasonable. Paleontologists calculate that to run at this speed, T-Rex would need around 80% of its muscle mass in its legs alone, something no creature ever has. A more reasonable estimated top speed is closer to 18 km per hour, which is still surprisingly nimble for such a large predator. The debate continues as to whether T-Rex actively hunted or filled a scavenger role in the ecosystem, with supporters of the scavenger theory arguing that T-Rex would be too slow to hunt other animals. However, the prey that an adult T-Rex would have been hunting would have been relatively slow themselves. T-Rex adults would have preyed on large hadrosaurs, ceratopsians and ankylosaurs, who would have been more likely to stand and fight rather than flee, while juvenile and subadult Tyrannosauruses, who were lighter and more agile, would have hunted smaller, faster prey. while Tyrannosaurus would have taken advantage of any carrion it were to discover. Healed and partly healed wounds matching T-Rex teeth suggest adult Tyrannosaurus did in fact hunt living, large herbivores. Tyrannosaurus has become a pop culture icon, starring in movies, video games, and advertisement. The combination of sheer numbers of specimens found, the awesome name Tyrannosaurus Rex, the geographical location being discovered in North America, and finally the simple fact that T-Rex is an incredibly impressive creature, have cemented its position as the king of dinosaurs. Tyrannosaurus reigned supreme across late Cretaceous North America, right up until the KT mass extinction event, which wiped out the non-avian dinosaurs and 75% of all life on Earth. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel to show your support. Also, find Creature Files on Facebook at facebook.com/creaturefiles. See you next time.